Hi, this is Brad. Today in this video I want to share with you some of the things to consider when renting your RV on RVshare or on Outdoorsy. I want to share with you some of the things that we learned along the way to help you to hopefully avoid some of the mistakes that we made. Let's get started. So if you've been following us here on our channel Silver Lining Daydreams, you already know we have a travel trailer and we rarely let people tow. We usually deliver it, we set it up, and then we pick it up when they're done with their stay. So some of this is going to pertain to our situation, but I think you can really glean some helpful information from this, even if you let them tow it themselves or you have an RV like a Class A. In our situation, we stopped having automatic booking. We want people to communicate with us before we rent out our RV. So the first thing I suggest you do before you actually allow somebody to book is find out where they are going to camp. I suggest that you contact that campground, you go to Google Earth, you find out what that campsite is like, and not only the campsite but the campground. So you're going to want to make sure that you can actually back the travel trailer up into that site, because people seem to be very optimistic with you being able to get in there. So for example, in the past we had a campsite that had multiple trees. It was a beautiful campground. It took us about 40 minutes of backing up, going forward, backing up, going forward, and backing up to actually get that RV in a good spot for those renters. So that's going to take time and gas. The other thing you're going to want to check out is the actual terrain. Is it going to be on sand? Is it on soft dirt? Is it a newer campground? We actually had a situation where the campground had been there, but they expanded and the ground was very soft. They hadn't yet planted grass seed. So we're going into this campground. It's about 5 inches of rain, and they actually stop us and they tell us we have to wait. It's going to be a half hour before we can get to the campsite. So that's time there waiting. So we're waiting. The rain has stopped, but everything is just totally soaked. And then they escort us. They let us drive the travel trailer back to the newer camping area. They have no gravel on the road, so we're like driving in mud and we're sinking in. And what we found out is over in the distance we could see a tractor. And already that day, 3 travel trailers had got stuck, and they needed to take that tractor and get the people out. So we sat there for a half hour while they got a camper that was stuck in the mud, unstuck, and into their site. So it was really kind of scary actually trying to get there. And then basically we were the last campsite, so that made it easier. We didn't have to actually go between campers, but it was all mud. And so I basically had really one shot to get in there, because it wasn't a situation where I can go back and forth and move it around. I would just make a mess. And by the way, I just washed my camper. The camper was full of mud. My truck was full of mud. So that all costs money and time, cleaning that up after the fact, going through the car wash with my truck. So I said all that to say this: really research where that camper is going to be at before you actually go there, because that may take more time than what you actually realize. Another actually very important consideration is the distance, especially when you deliver. So we have an area in our state that's about 2 hours away. There's this big event every year. There's actually 1 million people there, and there's campsites all over the place that just tailor to that one event. And actually there's festivals there, like music concerts and so on, throughout the summer. So we get requests to go there. So knowing what we know now, there are certain campgrounds we won't even go to just because of the long wait time. So this last booking we just did, where we got almost stuck in all the mud like I discussed earlier, we passed a caravan. I mean, it was a line of just stalled RVs waiting to get into the campground. I wish we would have got a video clip, but there was literally about 40-50 RVs just stopped waiting to be escorted into the campground. Of course, one option is, if you know it's going to be a problem campground, is to raise your fee for delivery to that campground and sort of have the understanding, if you get in there quicker, great, you make more money. But if you get hung up there and it's longer to get in there, at least you're getting more compensation. So that's an individual choice you'll have to make. But again, for us, there are campgrounds we just stay away from. Let's say you deliver the RV, everything works perfect, you get back home, but let's say there's a problem. The RV's 2 hours away and you have to go to the RV. So that's 2 hours there. Maybe you're there an hour or two, then it's 2 hours back. Well, that could be a 6-hour situation, and that's taking up your time, and you may not have that time. So you may want to set some parameters as to how far you're willing to deliver your RV. Also consider inclement weather. So we had a situation this summer where we did a delivery. It was, I think, a couple hours away, and it was rainy, and not just rainy, but it was like really blinding rainy. So instead of driving 65, 60 like we normally do, we were probably going 40, 45. So it took longer to get there. Then once we got there and we wanted to set up, everything is wet. Thankfully, it stopped raining so we could do the setup. But what if it's just a drencher and it's pouring and you're setting it up? Well, you'll get through it, but it's going to take you more time. So that segues into the next consideration, and that's the unexpected. And I touched on it earlier, and a lot of these overlap, but what if something breaks and you have to go back? You sort of want to have a plan. What if the AC breaks and it's August and it's an oven? Well, we do have a portable air conditioner that we could take to the RV. Another thing I want to mention is what really is a useful tool is if you're people that are renting and you don't want to make a trip up there, you're hoping they can get through it, is to have them actually ask their neighbor. People that camp tend to be friendly and very willing to help. And we've had situations, for example, how do I work the oven, which most people rarely use in the RV, but these people planned on using it. They were going to be doing a lot of cooking. So they were able to just ask another camper for assistance, and they were more than willing to help them. So before you start making a drive to fix whatever problem you have, so you may want to consider having them ask a neighbor. So going hand in hand with the unexpected is Murphy's Law. Sure enough, something's going to break at some time with your RV. So I suggest not doing your rentals back to back. So when you do a rental, allow some space in case you have to break away to do a repair on your RV. The next consideration is the inexperience some of your renters may have, or should I say your potential renters. So we also rent on Airbnb, and most of that is automatic booking. But what I've noticed through the RVshare platform, and I'm sure Outdoorsy would be similar, is a lot of people will ask a lot of questions before they rent, and rightfully so. So people, sometimes it's their first time renting and they just don't understand how RVs work. So they're going to have a lot of questions, which leads me into mentioning the more information, but not too much, but make it easily navigatable on the platform that you have to inform your potential renters. The more information there that you provide, the easier this will become. But sure enough, you're going to get a lot of questions and you're going to go back and forth. So remember, that's going to take up some time as well. One of the big issues that we find people have is not understanding the hookups. In one area that we deliver in our state, there's a lot of festivals, so there's no hookups basically. So they don't understand they're going to need a generator, something to power the RV. The AC is not going to work. The batteries that we have are going to go dead, and so on. So there's a lot of explaining to do. We had one person that wanted to rent the RV to just have it in her backyard, and she was going to have people stay there. And we tried to explain to her, you know, we need 30 amp service to have the AC run. So she thought she could just plug it into the back of her house, everything would work. And then we have a 30-foot travel trailer. She didn't realize that it's probably going to chew up her grass if it was wet. And so there's just a lot of explaining that you have to do back and forth. So we look at it like this. We have parameters set with our rental, and I would rather not rent it and just not do any rentals than to say, well, hey, I want to have a lot of rentals, but I'm really not going to make much money because I'm just eating up all my time. One of the most important things right now where we're at is our time, and I'm not willing to sacrifice time to make a small amount of money. There has to be enough money coming in to justify renting your RV. Another consideration is people that want you to reduce your price. So occasionally we get people that want the price reduced, and I tell them no, there's no price reduction. I think a person, if they want to consider maybe emptying the tanks at no charge, I think that makes sense. You know, it's done right. So even though we do delivery, most places that we go to, not all, but a lot of them I should say, they have people that come by as a service to empty the tanks. In fact, there's some that have a service where they come and give them water. They have a flag system. They lift this flag to have the tanks empty. They lift this flag to have water. So the way I see it, I could see maybe offering to get the deal, to seal the deal, to offer to empty the tanks. But what I've found is people that want you to reduce your price, just say no, and if they drop it, fine. But if they keep, trying to get you to reduce the price, they get you to waive the insurance, they're doing some of that, we just always don't book with them. So we go with our gut. We don't want anything to do with people that are doing that. I guess I just have question marks. I feel like they're going to have complaints. They're going to leave us a bad review. I just don't feel that's a good fit for us. I want people that see the value in what we're doing. So to sort of sum everything up, when you factor in time to clean your RV, time to take it there, set it up, bring it back, the risk, sometimes sort of like a little bit like, boy, I'm a little concerned with this rental. The risk involved and the loss of time that you will have with the RV because it's out on a rental, or let's say something does break while they have it and you can't fix it. Well, you may be without an RV for a while because, try in July or August to get your RV service. They might tell you, we're booked for 2 weeks, or sometimes you'll hear 4 weeks, 6 weeks, depending on what type of RV and what the breakdown is. So when you factor all that in, you really got to make sure that you're asking enough money to make this worthwhile. So factor in a price, and if you're not getting rentals, well, okay, maybe consider lowering it some, but there's a point where maybe this isn't going to work for you. You just don't make enough money to make it worth doing. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Give us a like, share our video, and thanks again for watching.